So, Jackass Forever is the fourth Jackass film. And, yeah, these films have been, the whole Jackass franchise has been going on for well over 2 decades. And the crew, the people behind Jackass, they know this. They know they're getting older. They know they're getting some wrinkles. And they know that eventually they're going to start repeating themselves. In fact, that's actually kind of a big part of this fourth Jackass film, is that they actually go back to some of their older bits and try to and basically just try to like rework them and try to find ways to make them funnier. Like, you might remember one of their oldest bits was called the cup test, which was essentially a test to see how well a protective cup would protect your genitals from a punch. So they comment on this when they start up this bit, saying like, isn't it funny how many years later we're still doing the same stupid shit? And it's like, well, yeah, at least they are being a little bit more innovative. Instead of just having, just someone on the crew punch them where the cup is, this time they get a heavyweight boxer to punch them. They get a professional softball player to throw a softball at it. They get a professional hockey player to throw a hockey puck at it. And they throw in a, pogo stick just for good measure. So at least they are very innovative. I can say that. For the many familiar Jackass people who once more assemble for this film, they do find ways to take these old bits and try to make them more interesting, more complex, and basically just try to find new stuff to do with it. Where even though when it feels like they've run out of ideas, they're trying to improve on stuff they've done before. A particular example of this might be they at one point decide that they want to light a fart underwater to see if that would be possible. And surprisingly enough, they actually bring someone in who could help them make this happen. So the technology has improved where they can do these more elaborate stunts. Of course, basically, to say that, Jackass Forever, like, a lot of people will probably criticize it. If you're new to the Jackass films, yes, it's just like the other films. It's a whole series of, like, stunts and behind-the-scene pranks and gags and jokes. All the same stuff you've seen before, and on that level, you can really only gauge the film either with how much it made you laugh or how much it made you not laugh. And I can safely say that this film actually did make me smile a lot and did make me laugh a few times. On that level, I kind of got to say that this is probably the weakest of the Jackass films, just because I think they've gone so over the top in so many years and tried to outdo themselves so many times that you almost expect nothing less from them. Like the gags they do involving, having spiders, get on their faces and scorpions sting them on the lips. Okay, I've seen that, kind of par for the course. Not bad. Scenes where they're having... Steve-O has a bit where he's got a whole bunch of bees who swarm around his penis. Not bad. That's it's shocking, and they get a lot of the close-ups so they can show you a lot of the genitals. I will say this: they are not afraid to get nude in the Jackass movies, and they probably spend the most time nude in this film more than any other. Specifically, the opening number is actually very creative. They try to stage a kaiju movie with one of their penises. Now, I'm going to try to hold back on just describing every single one of the bits that happened here. Because, at that point, I'm not going to go through segment by segment and review each little skit, like which one made me laugh and which one made me didn't. I will say that the consistency of the bits did keep a constant smile on my face. Where even though I could see where the bits were going, I could see the gags that they're trying here, I could even see some of, the familiar staging that they're putting in this film. In fact, the film doesn't even try to hide this too. Like, when you get to the end of the film, they actually do a side-by-side comparison to see how much they've improved or not improved over the years. A perfect example of this is, you might remember, I believe in Jackass 3 or 2, I think it might have been 3, there was a bit where Johnny Knoxville gets hit by a bull. And in Jackass Forever, we get another scene where Johnny gets hit by a bull. Except this time, he kind of stays on the ground a little bit more and has a broken rib and ends up going to the hospital. So I guess it shows how much how much they've aged. The good news is that if you're still hoping for more of these Jackass movies, they actually have brought in some new blood. There's a few new characters they bring into the mix. One of them is called Poopies, which, okay, own that name. And they actually bring a woman into the group as well. Rachel Wolfson, and I gotta admit, like the one, she's in a few segments, but like the one segment that I think where she owns is a segment called Scorpion Botox, which is kind of self-explanatory. But I think, like, you know, Jackass has prepared this new wave of I'm not even sure, I want to say like jackasses or something like that, to prepare them for all these stunts. Like they are willing to jump into these many bits, I think, because Jackass has prepared them for it. Like the whole like Scorpion Botox thing, Wolfson takes it like a champ. Like she willingly puts her face up, like let's get the scorpion stinger on my face. And when it doesn't look like they've got a good enough shot, she's like, do it again. She's a trooper. That they all are kind of troopers in this. With everything from like the human surfboard to there's a lot of like human stuff. They do the human surfboard. They have like the human ramp where a whole bunch of people form a ramp and they skateboard off them. A lot of those bits the new people fill in for. While still having, you know, a few bits for like Johnny Knoxville and Steve-O to still prove that they can still tumble around in porta potties. I really do like the one bit where Johnny Knoxville gets shot out of a cannon trying to do like the story of Icarus with like the wings and flying up into the sky. Beautiful little bits like that in between, you know, the scenes of them, you know, having bears paw at their junk and turning their penises into paddle balls. I'm trying not to describe all the bits. I'm trying not to, because I mean, what more can you say? I mean, you can really only judge these films on whether or not they shock and make you laugh, and they still kind of have it. Just by a bit. Like there's a few segments where just like, okay, I see what's going on here, but I've kind of seen you guys do this before, so it's like, and it's like I'm not like annoyed or bored with it, but I'm just kind of like, okay, I know, like, this is like a greatest hits for you guys, like, pun intended. And I know that you're getting older, so I know this more or less just, yeah, kind of feels like a greatest hits movie, with some new segments in between. They do get some nice guest stars here and there. They get Tyler, the Creator, for a great sequence where he plays the piano and gets electrocuted. You have Eric Andre stop by for a little bit, where I believe he gets punched either in the face or in the nuts when he's trying to get a coffee. You have Machine Gun Kelly getting smacked by a giant hand. Decent bits like that. That's all kind of like par for the course stuff. There's nothing really all that shocking with the guests. But yeah, like all I can really judge it on is like how much I laughed, and I had a laugh here and there. Not as many as I did in like the other Jackass films, which did find a way to shock and surprise at every turn. Classic example of that, like I'll never forget the scene in Jackass 2 where they have a miniature of a bathroom. But it's so good, you don't know it's a miniature until the first large drop of feces comes into the screen and shocks you. That's some good subversion. There's a few bits like that here and there where, like, you know, someone smacks into a background Looney Tunes style, or you mistake a punching bag for another part of the body for a scene. So yeah, it still has some surprises here and there. It is showing its age. At least there's a new troupe to take over once the Jackass people get, you know, they pretty much are getting pretty long in the tooth. In fact, in the case of Steve-O, he's actually lost a tooth. And on that level, yeah, I do appreciate the film, but yeah, it really is showing its age, and this is definitely one of the weaker Jackass films. That being said, it's, you know, if you're a fan of these movies, I would say you won't be disappointed. It delivers on pretty much everything you expect from Jackass, with all the guest stars, the big opening sequence, the many pranks that involve getting hit in the crotch, the many gags that go on in between scenes, and the stuff they leave on the cutting room floor that somehow finds its way into the film. All that stuff is in there, and I still adore it. But yeah, this is definitely the Jackass film that is showing its age. So still a fun film, but I'm not sure how much momentum can keep going with the Jackass movies.